Scanning for audio.
So, after last week's fun, we have The Invisible Enemy, Honey, I Shrunk the Doctor, The Incredible Journey, no, that's the one with the lost pets, The Fantastic Voyage, or indeed, Into the Dalek. Right, they're the obvious gags, let's get them out of the way. Apparently, this is written by Phil Ford, according to all of the interviews, all of the stuff written down, everything except the opening titles, where it's shared with the Grand Moff. Why a shared credit? Is it some contractual thing? Were there far too many rewrites? Was it a shared thing? Or was it that the original idea came from Moffat during that famous pitch of ideas for computer games? Perhaps we just don't know. Perhaps one day we'll find out. But I'm not convinced. Right, what I have to do is take the fact that I'm not happy with the entire plot and put that to one side. It's all lovely, but what's the point of shrinking them down? Alright, it gives a bit of excitement. It's not like we haven't had people shrunk in Doctor Who before. We've got Planet of the Giants, we've got Invisible Enemy, where they actually go inside the Doctor's own body, which makes even less sense. And we've got the Reboss operation, where you shrink the Doctor down in order to escape something. At least that bit makes a bit of sense. But shrinking someone down in order to go inside a Dalek, if you think about it for more than a second, it's kind of pointless. Oh, and why do they go in through the eye? That, makes even less sense. I just couldn't get beyond that. Every time the plot took a breath, it took a moment, I just thought, what? But why would you shrink down in the first place? Surely scans would have revealed a radiation leak of some sort. And is the plan to go into every single Dalek casting and give them all a radiation leak? The fact that he was instantly giving the name Rusty made me believe that he would survive. And yes, it looks like he did. The effects this week were considerably better. And I'm not too sure why Capaldi likes wandering the universe, saving people as their spaceships blow up, snatching people at the last moment from death. Is that the same as Missy, snatching people from the last moment from death? Or was that just me reading too much into the ridiculous story arc? Now, I know that the last two parts of this entire series will be dedicated to discovering all about her, so let's not bother reading too much into Psycho Mary Poppins, despite the fact that she likes drinking tea and likes referring to the Doctor as her boyfriend. We've definitely got a darker Doctor here, and this is week 2 of the darker Doctor's potential. We had the Doctor doing the whole did he fall, was he pushed thing last week, and that's up to the audience, to us, to work out whether he did push the Clockwork Man, the broom handle, the gag from Rodney Trotter, in order to work out whether he's truly not bad, but more of a reactive Doctor. I'm not sure what I want to believe. Part of me wants to believe that, no, he did convince him to throw himself out. But then part of me wants to believe that he did throw him. Of course, we've also got the introduction of Mr. Pink, which I'm sure I'll come back to in a moment. But we have, well, nothing new. The one thing that is new is that we have our first, as far as I can remember, and email me if I'm wrong, bum gag. Yes, we've had, well, flatulence gags in the past, but we've never had a gag about, well, bottoms before. It's a great idea for a movie and a lousy idea for a proctologist. So perhaps this is the new direction for Doctor Who. Perhaps it's not. One thing that I did like was that the Daleks, when they trundled out and they were exploding, I could have sworn that they were all very small Mike Tucker models being blown up. They actually looked like real things being blown up, and it was nice. The scale looked slightly out, but perhaps that's because they were real. I just couldn't work it out, because in the making of they looked real, but on the programme they looked like models, which is curious and odd, because you would think that they would look better in post-production. I've already covered the whole Dark Doctor thing with the robot antibodies. Do you think Davros would have invented those? I suppose he might have. They do look a little bit like his eyes, or perhaps they were more of a Dalek upgrade, because Daleks get infections. Isn't there an episode? No, there's a reference to a disease. So I suppose these antibodies are more important and would explain the whole surviving the Movellans. The Earth storylines do seem, well, added padding. Something to get through in order to get to the plot. Perhaps that's more me. I adored the fact that he refers to Clara as his carer. She cares so I don't have to. That sums up the Doctor so far for me. But he's still the Doctor. He's still a good bloke. Now the idea of a good Dalek, well, that's a whole different kettle of fish. It was bandied around during the whole Dalek TV series with Terry Nation. Yes, bear with me. Terry Nation took the Daleks to the States in the 60s and said, I'd like to make the TV series with the Daleks. It'll be awfully good. And people sat around and went, yeah, of course, do some scripts and stuff. So we did. And one of the ongoing themes was a Dalek which had become the companion of the heroes, a bit like Blake Seven in Aurak, but instead of Aurak you had your own Dalek, and it was a good Dalek who changed sides. That idea is also used in various other things where they get the human factor. And, well, it's just a case of the reversal. What is one thing you always know about Doctor Who? That's how you write Big Finish stories. You work out one thing that is known, that is never questioned, that is always perfect. Sontarans are small, and then you reverse it, and you end up with the story of Sontaran big, and you take the story from there. All Daleks are bad. This Dalek is good, because he's seen a star born, because life, you can't resist it. You can't resist. Well, resistance is futile, as Daleks say. So they're a warped creature that's kept in line by an even more warped computer. Very nice. But the reality of turning lights back on in its head, well, it's alien technology, it must work in a different way from all those. And that's fine by me. So, better than last week's, now that I've seen it a couple of times, but not great, not perfect. Well, we can live with that. So I'll fade away, and I'll come back with a review, probably on Saturday, straight after the show's been on, giving my reaction to Robots of Sherwood. So until next time, be seeing you.
You've been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its connected properties are copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. Whostrology, a Time Traveller's Almanac, is available through Telos Publishing or Amazon. Visit www.whostrology.com for further information. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.
The Daleks. Appearing in over 100 episodes, it's no surprise that they managed to blast their way into this series too. Well, we experienced this horrific invasion firsthand during filming. So I suggest you take a deep breath. We're going to take you with us. Filming for this episode started way back in late January 2014. It was to be in a cold aeroplane hangar near Cardiff that the Doctor's oldest foe would be wheeled back onto set. 6 months after writing the episode, Phil Ford was excited to be here for the big day.
Hello. Well, fancy meeting you here.
So, Phil, what's happening here today?
Well, we're filming the attack of the Daleks on the spaceship Aristotle. It's the last line of defence, which is falling to the Daleks.
And this is the first time we've seen the Doctor wandering around the insides of a Dalek.
Going inside a Dalek, I mean, I don't think anyone's ever had that idea before. It's quite difficult to come up with new ideas about the Daleks.
This Dalek must not be told inside a Dalek!
Yeah, this is a really nice little concept, actually.
Well done, Phil Ford, I say.
Actually, it was Stephen's idea.
OK, well done, Stephen.
Many years ago, we were discussing computer games for Doctor Who. They were asking me if you get any ideas. So I said, how about you get miniaturised and you go inside a Dalek? And they all looked very happy, and I said, no, stop. I'm having that for an episode, you're not getting that one.
Stephen had said, how do you feel about doing it? And I just leapt at it straight away. Every writer that does Doctor Who wants to do a Dalek story, and I just feel really lucky to be doing this one.
And as much as Phil enjoyed writing for the Daleks, Peter has relished the opportunity to come face to face with one.
I wasn't actually supposed to be filming until after lunch, but I came along this morning because I knew there was this classic Doctor Who scene of that door will never hold, as the Daleks, we know, are behind it and are boarding this spaceship that they've been hunting.
Yes, with the Doctor's most feared enemy on set, it's guaranteed to get a little messy.
Which has had lots of explosions and thrown up lots of fragments of former human beings, turned them into clouds of dust. It's been fabulous.
So the question now is, where are the crew?
Time to find out how the crew got on filming inside a Dalek. We caught up with our locations manager, who had to check out the best places to film.
Well, they had to shrink me, first of all, which was an amazing experience. I did ask the boys if there's any chance of making me a little bit taller, but they couldn't do that, unfortunately.
And what did our guest cast think about having to be shrunk down to film this episode?
Pretty amazing.
I'm going to try and climb into a custard cream later.
They may have been miniaturised, but they were both absolutely thrilled to be on Doctor Who.
It's so exciting, but at the same time it's quite scary as well.
You don't know where it goes!
Yes, I do. Away from here.
It's amazing. Like, our costumes are wicked, aren't they?
Many gadgets on us as well.
It's quite good fun.
Wearing us down, yeah.
This is probably the coolest job I've had, I think.
Very cool.
And the excitement didn't stop there. Zoe also got up on wires. Don't look worried, Zoe. It was Jenna's first time too.
Kind of suspended quite high, and then we had all the wind machines blasting on us and just had to be really close, clinging onto this little prop as if we're like flying up a carbonite rope. Yeah, it was good. I just wanted to go higher.
And with all the excitement on set, sometimes our cast can get a little carried away.
We broke the tiny prop that was supposed to be supporting the two of us. So I think that might be a little bit of CGI.
Oh, this is what's left of the prop, look.
The prop hasn't really been
It's just imagined
for quite some.
Jenna was also impressed with some of the clever camera techniques that the director used during filming.
Yeah, we had loads of tricks. All of the climbing scenes that we had were just on the floor crawling like a baby on all fours, straining as if we'd been climbing a mountain.
Well, if scaling a Dalek's innards isn't tricky enough, Clara's love life is also about to get a bit more complicated too.
So there's a new man in Clara's life. It's Danny Pink, who's another teacher who she meets at the school. He is a guy with a past. He's a man who needs healing. He's a man who maybe needs a doctor.
It's all the questions on page 32 except the last one, and then everything on page 33. Any questions?
Just one question. What can you tell us about Danny Pink?
My character is an ex-soldier and has become a school teacher, mathematics.
OK, be honest, are you any good at maths?
I was all right at it. I was okay. I was terrible at fractions. I think I passed at GCSE level, though.
But it seems like this part is taking its toll on our newest cast member.
Thank you! I've been hitting my head on the table. I've got an ice pack for this lump. I don't know if you can see the lump, but for the love of the art, I went all the way in. Yeah, we tried a little packet of tissue. I had a feeling as well, actually, because after the makeup went on, then it's a bit sticky, so it didn't really work. We had to revise that plan.
Well, it's not going so well for poor Danny. I wonder how Clara is dealing with this budding relationship.
It's the wooden sound you or the desk? Oh my goodness, the most awkward start to any kind of relationship possible.
How long have you been there?
Longer than you would like. Danny and Clara take a little while to get it together. They just have hilarious dialogue that actually is quite painful to speak because it's just so awkward between the two of them. Totally uncool it is.
Yes, it wasn't just Clara who got a bit tongue-tied.
Yeah, my character's useless with the women.
Want to watch yourself round him? Bit of a lady killer.
She isn't. He's kind of the two left footer of the womanizer world.
So was it love at first sight for Danny then?
Oh, she's beautiful. He was like that. Yeah. I don't know about love. Doesn't really know her yet. He's a romantic type. He has to get to know them first.
So, Samuel, are you anything like your character?
No.
Will this relationship blossom? Will they go out for that drink? Will they kiss? Better ask the writer.
Kiss? Who says they're going to have a kiss? I don't know. You'll just have to wait and see.
What a spoil sport. Anyway, Daleks have been terrifying children for over 5 decades, and no matter who you are, you'll never forget the first time you encountered a Dalek.
My first memory of a Dalek is a Dalek toy that I had. You know, images of the Daleks coming over the bridge in London. The genesis of the Daleks has got to be my favourite Dalek story.
And Peter still remembers when they first appeared on our TV screens back in 1963.
So I lived through the whole Dalek craze. I had a little toy Dalek, and it was fabulous. And I remember coming down one day and finding the poster for the movie, Doctor Who and the Daleks, and just loving seeing the shape of those Daleks. A classic piece of 60s design.
Yes, with such a striking appearance, it's no surprise that they've endured for such a long time, but not all Daleks are the same. The Daleks first hit our television screens back in 1963 during a visit to Skaro, but it wasn't long before we saw a few minor modifications. By 1964, they had these little discs on their back. This helped with their mobility, allowing them to travel underwater and through the River Thames. The familiar gore slats around their midsection first appeared in 1965. And aside from some minor tweaks, this look remained unchanged throughout the eras of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th Doctors. Then when the Doctor encountered his old enemies on Necros, he found himself up against the visually striking Imperial Daleks. But when the Daleks returned in 2005, the Doctor was in for a shock. These new Daleks were more versatile, better protected and could even fly through the air. Later, when a colourful new range of Daleks were born, the Doctor quickly ended their reign, aided with the use of a biscuit. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Over the years, we've had a stone Dalek, a special weapons Dalek, the Dalek Emperor, a glass Dalek, and perhaps most terrifying of all, a human Dalek hybrid. Well, no matter what type of Dalek you come face to face with, it's sure to be a petrifying experience. So let's find out how Peter got on working alongside these cold-blooded creatures for the first time.
Tougher than I had imagined.
Are you my doctor?
All things in Doctor Who are tougher than you imagine, because you've been a child and you've probably played it being Doctor Who and stuff, that you can do it all.
Why would I do that?
As an actor, you're so used to people's eyes and responding to their body language. But with the Dalek, it's a prop. You have to work sort of doubly hard.
Someone working hard to bring them to life on set is the man behind the distinctive Dalek voice.
Doctor! Normally when I'm doing a Dalek voice, there are Daleks around on set. But this time, it's just people clambering around sort of inside me. That's a bit weird. I did think there was a possibility I could do, when the Dalek's good, to make him sound all good and nice.
Rusty, talk to me.
The malfunction is corrected.
I think that would be a bit twee and cute. Destroy all the Daleks. There is a slight softness and a little bit of more human characterisation, but only a tiny bit.
All systems are functioning.
He's conflicted a lot. Rigid, sort of brittle performance with that, where you feel he might go one way or the other.
Weapons charged.
So then, Nick, do you think Daleks can ever be good?
Anything's possible. Something weird could happen. There could be an alternative dimension.
The Daleks will be victorious. The rebels will be exterminated.
I think it's unlikely. Got exterminate written all the way through them like a stick of rock.
Rusty.
Well, the Doctor didn't manage to find any good Daleks after all. The Daleks still remain one of the most feared villains in the universe. And you're guaranteed that this won't be the last time we bump into this fearsome adversary.